Hello, my friends. Welcome back to another video. If this is your first time here, thank you so very much for joining me. And if you are a return viewer, thank you for coming back. So today I'm pretty excited to do this video. Not only am I going to be attempting two things that I've never done before on this channel, but also I have a little tip for those of you that are struggling with consistency that is going to help you tremendously, okay? Today's star of the show is going to be American Floetrol for two reasons. First reason being, I'm going to tell you right now, if you're a new pour artist and you don't know how thick paint should be, I want you to get a bottle of American Floetrol. I want you to put some in a cup. I want you to move it around with a stick. I want you to drizzle it off of the stick like this. And then I want you to remember that the perfect consistency for almost all acrylic pouring is the same consistency that Floetrol is, okay? It's really that simple, guys. No need to measure anything like that. Put some paint in a cup, pour a little bit of Floetrol at a time until it starts to thin down, okay? And if you get to a point where it's not getting thinner, just add a little water until it looks like this. Feels like this. It's really, really easy to do. I know a lot of people think that their pours are failing because their paints aren't the right consistency. I'm going to tell you another little secret. If your technique is not coming out right and the paint is not, I repeat, is not cracking, then it's not the paint's fault. It is either, if it's something aesthetically, like it doesn't look right after you blew it around with the blow dryer, it's the way that you're using the air. If you're not getting cells and lacing, then it's something with the type of products you're using, not the consistency. The correct consistency is going to look like this. And let me tell you, if you want to do, let's say a Dutch pour, we know the paint needs to be a little bit thinner. So if you go to my consistency guide video and watch that and print out one of those pieces of papers and test your paints, you'll know what the right consistency is for the Dutch pour, the pearl cell technique, the bloom technique, and then everything else. So I always reference the four kind of categories of acrylic pouring paints. You have the bloom is the thickest, then you have the pearl cell is the thinnest, the Dutch pour is up there, you know, in the middle somewhere, and then you have all the other techniques like the flip cups, the ring pours, the swipes, the tree swipes, whatever technique you see that isn't a bloom, Dutch, or pearl cell technique, it is this consistency when you're doing it, okay? So just try to remember that when you are thinning down your paints. I never measure. I just put some paint in a cup. I put about double the amount of Floetrol in, and then I add water until it feels like the Floetrol that's coming right out of the jug, all right? And speaking of Floetrol coming right out of the jug, today I'm going to be using Floetrol in a whole different way. Now, I have these wood rounds. I get these from Home Depot. They are 18-inch wood rounds, and I have a commission to do, and it's a very unique commission. Often referred to, this look is often referred to as a honey onyx. And a client of mine has these brand new beautiful tops that look like this, and she wants just a very simple matching round painting to go with it. So I'm going to be going for that. The only thing that she wants, though, is she wants a little bit of shifting qualities to this painting. So I came up with a unique idea for making this painting, and I've never done it before, and Floetrol on its own is going to be a big, huge help today for me. I hope, fingers crossed. So again, if you're struggling with consistency for just your average acrylic pour paints, this is what it is, my friends. The same consistency that Floetrol is, all right? That's what you're looking for after you combine your paints, your Floetrol, and your water. So I have a unique palette here. Let me explain part 2 to you. And actually, I may do part 2 before part 1. If that makes sense. Actually, part 2 will be part 1. Okay. So on TikTok, there's this really cool trend going around, and I have to do it for you guys. It is the most adorable thing, and I know a lot of you ladies and gentlemen out there have children or grandchildren, and this would just be the perfect little gift for them, okay? So if you have not seen this on TikTok, or if you don't go on TikTok, I'm going to show you how it's done. They are selling these little bears, and I got these on Amazon. It's called a Hansa bear. And the big thing is to pour paint on them. So I went to my grandson and I said, what are your favorite colors? And he said, orange, red, blue. And I said, oh, sweet baby Jesus, orange and blue is mud, but I'm still going to do it for him. We're going to figure out a way to separate these colors. So what I have mixed up here are, I have orange. I have a little bit of a darker version of it that I made myself by adding a little bit of red to this to come up with that. I have a red and a blue, white, and then silver. I thought silver would look nice with it, okay? So I'm going to put a link for these little bears. I'm telling you, if you're on TikTok, I'm going to try to remember to put a link for a specific video, but I'm seeing them everywhere. Everybody's doing them. And it's kind of fun, you know? So I'm going to just do a quick little pour over this guy and we'll see how it comes out. And then I'm going to show you my commission that I need to do. And I think you're going to like it. I'm very happy. And again, I did something special with Floetrol that I've never done. And you'll see the results. Okay, so let me get set up. We'll get started. These are just thinned down. Everything's American Floetrol today. These are thinned down with American Floetrol and water. They're the same consistency as my Floetrol. All right, so I'm going to do what's called a dirty pour. A dirty pour is pouring the paint from up high into a container so that the paint mixes around and blends nicely. Pouring over this bear is going to waste a lot of paint, so to avoid that, I have it in a container and we'll save the drip off. Alrighty, so here we go. Wish me luck. We're just going to start by pouring all over the little guy. Now, if there are blank areas in the back, what I'll do once it's dry is just hand paint that in to make it blend. Look how cute that is. Little acrylic pouring bears. I bet these would sell good at the fairs. So you can see just how much paint pours off, and you want to be able to have the freedom to create a design that you like. So, you know, I poured over this thing quite a few times to get where I liked what it looked like. So having that container there and knowing I was going to be able to pour all of that waste paint back into a container, mix it around and make one custom color for future use really made me feel better about doing this. So you're going to notice that some cells, or lacing, I should say, start to develop on the face. And it's funny because I liked it, but I knew I had a lot of paint left and I wanted to keep going just to see what would come out of it. And I poured this layer and it looked great. And then I did another layer and that looked great. It was so hard to stop pouring this paint, but in the end, I controlled myself and it came out so adorable. The one thing I did decide not to do was add the blue. I know my grandson loves the blue, but it was just perfect the way that it was coming out, and I didn't want to take a chance of ruining it. Oh, I don't like that blotch on the face there, though. Look at the body's perfect. That I love. Maybe I'll do a little pour to the face again. That sounded so funny. Pour to the face. It's that one blotch right there I don't like. Let's see. I'm going to leave it there. He's got a little blindfold on. Oh, it's so cute. So there you have it. Acrylic pouring bears. So, so cute. When I came around the other side, I noticed 2 areas I had missed. So I had to re-pour the legs again. And then, you know, the addiction took over of watching that paint pour out of that bucket onto the body. And I did the face again. And so I had a really great time with this. But again, look at all of that paint in that bucket, which, by the way, made a beautiful color. So we're going to put this to the side. And now we're going to go on to my big idea that I hope is going to work, which is using Floetrol as an imaginary color to block off areas of the canvas. Let me explain. My client wanted a painting that had texture in it, that also color shifted. So my bright idea is to use this iridescent cellophane on this wood round and take American Floetrol and add it to my dirty cup as if it was a color. And here's my idea. Go with this. If I add this Floetrol to my dirty cup that I'm going to be pouring down, essentially wherever it lands, it should dry clear and therefore show this pretty background poking through my acrylic pour. All right, we're going to go with this. We're going to test it. It's my big idea. So I've used Floetrol, for example. I did I hand painted a canvas. Once it dried, I took clear, regular Floetrol, poured it all over the canvas, and then on top of that wet base, I put down acrylic pouring paints, blew out a Dutch pour. I'll pop up an image of the painting on the screen now. My idea today, though, is to just take the Floetrol and add it into my acrylic pouring paints. First, though, I have to get this background down. So I took some spray adhesive, sprayed the round, which I, by the way, spray painted white before I started this. And then I laid down the cellophane on the sticky surface and pressed it down with my hands. Again, I'll talk more about the Floetrol thing when we get to that point, but I don't want to miss any steps here. So lay it down on the surface and just flatten it out with my hands. It's going to leave some nice texture when it's dry. Therefore, when I pour and everything's said and done, the client will have what she wants, some texture and some color shifting properties. So I'm going to warn you, this is going to look funny. Like the colors are not going to look right until this is all said and done, all right? But just go with it here. I'm also doing a smaller round just to do some testing. There was something else I was curious about, which you will see coming up here shortly. Okay, so as I was saying, we are going to have our paint be the same thickness as our Floetrol. We're going to pretend our Floetrol is one of our colors. So what's going to happen is when we add this to the cup with our colored paints that are thinned down with the same product, it's going to block off some areas on the canvas, just randomly wherever it lands. And when it dries, the Floetrol will dry clear, the paints will dry the color they're supposed to, and you'll be able to see that background peeking through. All right, so I'm just straining my Floetrol first because, you know how it goes with Floetrol. It loves to have clumps. I mean, look at this. You see that? That would all end up in your paint if you didn't go through a strainer. All right, so now my colors, here's how I'm mixing them up. Remember, I'm using the Floetrol as a color, even though it's not a color, but we're going to make believe that it's one. So whatever this thickness is, your paints need to match this thickness because you want them to dry properly, right? So it's pretty simple, all right? You just feel it, look at it, and then what you want to do is add some tube paint. If you're using tube paint to the cup, add some Floetrol to it, mix it together, and slowly start adding water until it feels like this. However, there's a real simple way to do it. If you just add some Floetrol to your cup, however much Floetrol I add into this cup is how much of the one color I'm going to be mixing. That's how much I'll have of it, okay? Because I'm not going to be using water to thin it down. I won't have to because I'm using fluid paint. This is the really simple way to go about it because this has no body to it like a tube paint does. You're just going to put a couple of drips into your Floetrol, mix it, and it's going to be the same exact consistency as it was because there's no body. And you'll see it's the same exact consistency as this one here. See, it makes a little mound, slowly disappears. Makes a little mound, slowly disappears. That's what you're looking for. Using something like these vivid, fluid, intense acrylic paints along with American Floetrol is the foolproof way to get the perfect consistency for almost all of acrylic pouring. So now that I've mixed up the few colors that I'm using, I have my board here that I'm going to seal first with resin, and here's why. Remember, I told you this was an idea. I have not tried it yet. But I do know if I seal the surface in first with resin, that background will shine through when the pour is dry. So I put down the resin, let it cure, and then I poured the paint on it. I also have that smaller round. I'm going to test pouring directly onto the cellophane surface without using the resin. So we will do that first. We'll let the resin surface cure, and while that's going on, let me try pouring on a cellophane surface to see how it goes. So here's how I layered my cup. This right here is Floetrol, just straight Floetrol. Into that, I poured a little bit of white paint that was thinned down with Floetrol. Then some gold that's thinned down with Floetrol, followed by some blue opal, vivid intense, thinned down with Floetrol, and then I repeat. So a majority of this cup is Floetrol. You just want to be careful with the white. I wish I hadn't added so much white in because white, when mixed with Floetrol, not thoroughly mixed, but when it blended on the canvas, it created a little bit of a hazy effect, but it was no big deal. The painting still comes out gorgeous. Hate to spoil it, but it does work. So here is the tester canvas, though. This is the canvas that doesn't have a resin surface, just the cellophane glued down to the wood board. So I did sort of a flip cup there, and then I did a little bit of a ring pour and kind of just tilted it around and then just let it dry because, again, this is not my commission. And you see how I think I may have mentioned before how the colors look raunchy together. But again, don't judge yet. Wait until the piece is finished. I think you're going to be surprised. So I'm just going to pop my bubbles, give it a little tilt just to get enough of the paint off of the canvas. You just want a nice thin layer of your paint left on the canvas when you're doing your tilting. Then we're going to put this to the side and we're going to move on to the actual commission now, okay? The resin is dry and here we go. So with the same exact colors and a whole lot of Floetrol just poured right into the mix, I decided to dump it all out onto this cured resin surface and have a go at it. I just created some ribbons and then tilted the canvas around and then let it dry. Very simple. And I was so shocked at the outcome of this, which you'll be seeing shortly. While I have a moment here, I just want to thank you for joining me again and ask that you please click that like button on the way out and hit the subscribe button as well if you're not subscribed. I release a new video every Sunday, 3:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time and have a ton, and I mean a ton, of learning tutorials. I'm always here for help, so if you should need some help, you can always shoot me an email at artbytammy@yahoo.com. So here is how this looks when it's wet. You're going to see a lot of milky looking areas, and a lot of areas that are kind of bluish gray. Those are going to be the areas of interest. That's where the Floetrol is, and that opal, blue opal paint is from Color Art. So it's going to be interesting when this dries, just to see how that background works. Here is the smaller test that I did, and we're just going to let that sit and rest. And 2 days later, everything's dry, so let me show you what it looks like and move on to the next step. So here is the one with the resin surface. I cannot wait to show you this resin. This is going to be magnificent. It has just the right amount of texture left on the surface to make it look like actual stone. The Floetrol worked good. It didn't work great because I added that white in. I'm so mad that I added that white in. I should not have added any white and just left it alone with the other colors. I think it would have came out a lot clearer, but you can see it, and it's a very soft, delicate look. So I'm very happy with it when you see it done here in a few minutes. Here's the straight pour on cellophane, dried the same way, but with a lot more texture. So I'm going to look into that in the future. But right now I need to focus on my commission, and here we go. I'm putting the resin on, and wait till you see this painting in the sunlight. Oh my Lady Gaga. Here we go. So here it is, all cured from the top coat being put on. The soft pink areas is the cellophane coming through. The blue areas are that paint that I used. And by the way, look at this gold from, what is it? Golden, I believe. It's their bright iridescent gold. It is stunning. This piece is so soft and delicate, and a perfect match for my clients' countertops. It's very soft and wispy and ethereal. Is that the word that I'm thinking of? I don't even know. It's just really just a classy looking piece of art. No bold colors, no, blown out petals, just class and elegance. And here is our cute little bear all dry. How cute is that? I absolutely love how he came out. I have 4 more left to go, so I'll probably pop them in as a quick little reel on my videos here and there. And yeah, he is so adorable. Do I paint eyes? Do I not paint eyes? Leave a comment. Let me know what you would do. Do you leave it authentic like this, or do you add a little face onto him? Let me know what you would do. So that's it, my friends. Check out the description of the video. Be sure to click like, leave a comment, subscribe. Follow me on TikTok, Facebook, Pinterest, Instagram. I have a Facebook group, United We Pour Fluid Art Group on Facebook. Come join us and share your art with us. I hope you enjoyed this video. I want to thank you so very much for joining me. And until the next one, next Sunday, 3:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, happy pouring.